11 million. Also, INEC has her own fault in not able to complete, because from what you said, that some of them, the ones that will be forwarded to themselves, started the registration but were not able to complete. Then other ones are not able to be completed because of maybe one issue or the other. I don't know.
No, the Independent National Electoral Commission does not complete these things for people.
Okay.
When you enter our online portal for pre-registration, you must follow the process and complete it. When you complete the process, you will get a slip that you have completed the process, and then you will be scheduled for biometrics. But if you enter the portal, the moment you log into the portal captures you that somebody has logged in. And if you just write your name and you abandon it, and then the next day you enter the portal again and start afresh, it has recorded that you have entered the portal twice. Wow. So that's really the issue. It is your responsibility to complete the process. If you don't complete the process, we record it as incomplete.
What about you?
Okay, before we go to the next question, let me get the ordinary Nigerian will be asking. You talked about going to print ballot papers and all of those things. And from what you say, it's not been done in the country. Is it done?
I didn't say so.
But is it done in the country?
The bulk of the ballot papers the commission uses are printed in Nigeria.
Okay.
These are sensitive materials. The bulk of our ballot papers are printed locally.
Okay, because we need to clarify that, because a lot of people will be thinking these things have been taken outside to do, and then the question will come, don't we have the necessary equipment to do all of this?
These are sensitive electoral materials.
Okay.
The moment a ballot paper is compromised, the election is compromised. So we are careful in selecting security printers that can print ballot papers for us, because we do not want to compromise the security of our ballot papers.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me, in 2019 election, in the course of the CVR, even after that, before the Nigerians went to the poll, we noticed that about 20 million PVCs were not collected. That's the record that INEC gave us. About 20 million PVCs were not collected in 2019. So we want to know what modality that INEC is putting in place to ensure that ahead of the 2023 election, we don't have a bulk of PVCs on the table of INEC. So what are the modality and strategy
No,
they put in place?
the figure you gave is not really correct. Because what is available to me is to the effect that just slightly above 11 million PVCs were not collected across all the states of the Federation.
Well, INEC...
I speak for the commission.
Okay.
Yes. Now, but I think that what is important is what modalities are we designing to make sure.
Have all of those bulk
Now,
on the table.
the commission is concerned about PVC collection. One thing you must realize is that this commission will not give out any PVC by proxy.
Okay.
Those who did the registration must be the ones who will collect their PVCs. And those PVCs must be collected in person. That's one. Secondly, we are designing protocols on PVC collection. Some civil society groups and organizations, the Bar Association, have offered to assist the commission in terms of PVC collection. We are going to design the modalities on how this assistance will come. So what we intend to do is that we are going to engage in massive sensitization using both the print and electronic media and also the social media. We are also going to use our electoral officers at the grassroots, at the local government levels, to reach community leaders, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and so on, to sensitize them to the fact that these PVCs are available. Now, these PVCs will also be segregated in terms of the registration areas, or what you normally call wards. So our officers will go from one ward to the other on a rotational basis to make sure that these PVCs are closer to people. A registration area sometimes is a cluster of between 10 and maybe 15 polling units. So it's not a far distance. And so we are really, really concerned, and we want these PVCs to be in the hands of people. If the enthusiasm displayed by our people during this registration exercise is anything to go by, it implies that people have confidence in the electoral process and people want to be part of a movement that will change the trajectory of this country. And one way of assisting them to make their decisions is by making sure that they have their PVCs, and also encouraging them to show up on election day. And this commission will definitely do that.
All right. We also do hope and pray that the commission deploy more personnel, because most times Nigerians get discouraged when you go there and then you are to queue up for 3 hours, 4 hours just to get a PVC. It's part of what
we should. One of the things the media must also do is to assist this country to change the mentality of this last-minute rush. If we set out a period of 3 months for PVC collection, and then in a day only 3 people show up, and then when it is 1 week to the end of the PVC collection, you have 5,000 people show up in a day, it doesn't make for proper planning. So if we can find ways and means of changing this thing that has become a norm, that has become a convention, that has become a culture, it will do this country a lot of good.
We'll do our best to ensure that is done. Let me ask you this last. When is the collection of PVC going to start?
For those who registered between the 28th day of June, 2021, right, and the 30th day of June, 2022, their PVCs will be ready in October. As you know, and as you are aware, the PVCs of those who registered between the 28th day of June 2021 and 15th day of January 2022 has been printed and is in our state and local government offices. So people those who register within this particular period can go and collect their PVCs.
So those ones are ready now?
They are ready and they are in the states.
Okay.
For those who registered from the 15th day of January 2022 to the 30th day of June 2022, their PVCs will be ready in October. Okay. For those who registered from the 1st day of July to the 31st day of July, their PVCs will be ready in November. Okay. So that is the way we have scheduled it. And when these PVCs are ready, we are going to send the email messages to those who have registered. We are going to send bulk SMS to them. We are going to advertise massively on radio and television and on the social media for people to show up and collect.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about candidacy and the readiness of INEC to deliver credibly in the 2023 poll.
Yes.
Let's start with candidates.
Yes.
About the candidates. So have all the candidates made INEC requirement? I mean, we find out that about 18 political parties are out for the contest in 2023. So are all the candidates, have they met all INEC requirements to be able to stand in the poll in 2023?
I want to say yes. And I want to say yes advisedly. I want to say yes in the sense that we have our timetable and schedule of activities. Okay. Within the context of our timetable and schedule of activities, you must submit the list and personal particulars of your nominated candidates within a certain period to satisfy the provisions of Section 29, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act. They have met those requirements. Okay. Those that have not met those requirements did not submit their list. Within a certain period, we have what we call period for withdrawal. In other words, when you have made your nomination, nobody can withdraw except in case of death or withdrawal, okay. Voluntary withdrawal. So those who have voluntarily withdrawn, their party must submit the letter of withdrawal and an affidavit of withdrawal. Then thereafter, they are obligated under the law to conduct fresh primaries within a period of 14 days from the date of the accrual of the withdrawal, and then substitute the candidates that have withdrawn. That is where we are now. Then at a certain period...
There's still room for that withdrawal and conducting another primaries. Is
yes.
There room for that now?
Yes, so that is where we are now. Okay. And there's a differential between withdrawal for presidential and National Assembly elections and governorship and state assembly elections. Then thereafter, the period for the submission of nomination forms will close. That is from EC 13A series, called the nomination forms. Okay. And then thereafter, everything will close, and then we get into the period for campaigns in September.
But currently, are there any parties that have withdrawn?
So many parties are, the candidates of some of the parties are withdrawing, and they are substituting them. Candidates, not political parties.
Okay, candidates pull out of the race.
Yeah, some of them are pulling out, and then they are substituting. Yes. For instance, the Labour Party submitted the name of an individual as their vice presidential candidate, and that person withdrew, and then they substituted the person with a different person. The candidate of the APC submitted somebody's name as a vice presidential candidate. That person withdrew, and they replaced the person with a different individual altogether. So it's a process that is recognized by the law.
Between the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, because we learned that it was Obi-Utomi who was there before he stepped down. Is that the same?
No, it's not Obi-Utomi. It's a different individual, not Obi-Utomi.
Okay, so he stepped down for Peter Obi.
No. No. The Labour Party had presidential primaries that produced Peter Obi as the presidential candidate. Prior to that period, they did not conduct any primaries. There were aspirants, but when it came to the presidential primaries, they had only one candidate that they produced.
Okay, that was Peter Obi.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. In an interview you had last month with one of the media house, you said that the commission has not published the list of validly nominated candidates, that the final list will be published by the commission on the 20th of September 2022. So give us an understanding of, I don't want to call that a delay, but give us an understanding of why the publication will be, a valid candidate will be by September. Why is it September? I mean, since most of the parties have done the necessary. Is it so that there could be any correction? And if not, why September? Correction in terms of maybe replacement, and just like this, just give us an understanding of that.
Well, the commission is a product of the law. And being a product of the law, we must follow the provisions of the law strictly. Section 29, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act, it says that every political party shall, not later than 180 days before the date appointed for a general election, under this act, submit to the commission in the prescribed form the list of the candidate the party proposes to sponsor. The operative word here is the list the party proposes to sponsor at the election, who must have emerged from valid primaries conducted by the political party. Then subsection 3 of section 29, it says that the commission shall, within 7 days of the receipt of the personal particulars of the candidate, publish same in the constituency where the candidate intends to contest the election. And he goes further to say that any aspirant who participated in the primaries of his political party and who has reasonable grounds to believe that any information given by his political party's candidate in the affidavit or any document submitted by that candidate in relation to his constitutional requirement to contest the election is false, may file a suit at the Federal High Court against the candidate seeking a declaration that the information contained in the affidavit is false. So the operative word in section 29 subsection 1 is the candidate the party proposes to sponsor. But if you look at section 32 of the Electoral Act, it says the commission shall, at least 150 days before the date of the election, publish by displaying or causing to be displayed at the relevant office or offices of the commission and on the commission's website a statement of the full names and addresses of all candidates standing nominated. So that is why we said after all this display in the various states And after people have looked at the list and gone to court and so on and so forth, by September, we will now publish the final list of candidates standing nominated. So the implication is that what we have displayed in the state offices and in the constituencies are the list of candidates the party proposes to sponsor. So the final list of duly nominated candidates will now be published by the commission in September. That was the point I was making.
Okay, so the essence of that is to clear all the hedges and the roadblocks and all of that.
Exactly.
When we talk about valid candidate, of course, passing through primary process,
yes.
The issue of double nomination is coming to my mind to ask you, let's say, because we saw the case of Akpabio there, and even Senate President Mechina.
Yes.
Some of these cases, let's get a clear understanding of that, because like the Senate President, for instance, he went for the presidential election and then came back. Of course, he lost in the election, and then coming back to for the Senate seat in this constituency. Then there was this. Mechina said he went through the party primaries. Let's get an understanding and what the law says as regards to that. Could there be a room for the Senate President to come back? And also, we saw what happened in Bauchi too with the governor, of course, going and then coming back. So let's just get clear understanding as regards to that within the frame of the Electoral Act.
I think that the first thing is that we must understand that there's a difference between being an aspirant and being a candidate of a political party. Section 152 of the Electoral Act 2022 has defined who an aspirant is and who a candidate is. When political parties sell forms, those who indicate interest in buying the forms and participating in party primaries are aspirants. And that is why Section 152 of the Electoral Act defines who an aspirant is. It says aspirant means a person who aspires or seeks or strives to contest an election to a political office. So when you buy a form as an aspirant and you go through the process of Section 84, either through direct primaries, indirect primaries, or through the consensus option, and you win through a valid electoral process, you now become a candidate. And the same Section 52 has defined who a candidate is. He said a candidate means, means a person who has secured the nomination, not somebody who is aspiring or who is striving. He said candidate means a person who has secured the nomination of a political party to contest an election for an elective office. The implication of this is this. If you did not participate in a party primaries, there is no way you can secure the nomination of your political party. Now, under Section 29, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act, it is the responsibility of a political party to forward to the Independent National Electoral Commission the names of validly nominated candidates. Now, by our own processes and procedures, the moment political parties are done with their party primaries, we give the national chairman alone, an access code to our candidates nomination portal. And the national chairman of the political party uses this to upload the list and personal particulars of all the nominated candidates of his or her political party. The commission does not have that access code. It's only the national chairman that has it.
So if, for instance...
I'm coming. So the implication is that the commission has no control in relation to who the national chairman uploads. So what has happened in the case of Akpabio and in the case of the Senate President is that the commission comply with the provisions of the law and monitor the party primaries for the Yobe senatorial zone where the Senate President comes from, and also for the senatorial district where Akpabio comes from. But when the names of candidates were uploaded, rather than upload the name of the person who our monitoring report says won the party primaries, they uploaded somebody else's name. And we did not publish the name of that person. So it is the responsibility of the party to upload the name of the person who won the valid party primaries.
That INEC monitored.
That INEC monitored, because they are the ones, it is only the national chairman that has that access code into our portal. The commission does not have that access code.
So in a case where the party, or the party chairman, did not, even after INEC are still waiting for him to upload the person who participated in the primaries that was monitored by INEC, and if he has not done that, what would be the fate of the both candidates?
The implication is that the party has no candidate in the election.
Okay, that is what it means.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Nigerians are looking at, they want their will to be displayed in the 2023 poll. What assurance would INEC give to Nigerians? Let me even ask you, based on the new Electoral Act, what can you say played out in the Ekiti and Osun election?
What played out in Ekiti and Osun governorship election is that this commission prepared well. What played out in the Ekiti and Osun governorship election is that this commission has the courage to do what is right. What played out in the Ekiti and Osun governorship election is that this commission is creative and innovative. What played out in the Ekiti and Osun governorship election is that this commission is ready to deploy technology to obviate human interference in the electoral process. What played out in Ekiti and Osun governorship election is that the Nigerian people now believe that this commission has the capacity to do what is right, and that when they go out to go and vote, that their votes will count. What played out in that election is that the confidence of the Nigerian people in the electoral process is gradually being restored. And this commission is really determined to make sure that we sustain the confidence of the Nigerian people in the electoral process, and we will never betray the Nigerian people.
So the INEC Commissioner, National Commissioner for Voter Education and Information, is telling Nigerians that the 2023 general election will reflect the mandate and the will of the people.
Definitely. But let me put a caveat. And that caveat is that this commission will conduct the 2023 election and conduct it well. But the conduct of an election is a multi-stakeholder venture. The security agencies must secure the electoral environment to enable us deploy our personnel and materials. And we have impressed it on the security agencies that the time to do that is now. The time for them to degrade all the electoral challenges we have is now, to enable us deploy effectively. It is also imperative for political parties to obey their own rules, obey their own constitution, and operate within the context of the rule of law and due process, and not do anything that will endanger the electoral process, and not do anything that will discourage people from going to the polling units. In other words, political parties must on no account endanger the electoral environment, must on no account deploy political talks to the polling units, or use violence to achieve means other than striving for credible election. It also means that the media and civil society groups and organizations must also do their own bit in sensitizing our people and also carrying out massive advocacy for peaceful election, so that our people will understand the processes and procedures of the election and also embrace the Independent National Electoral Commission as the agency that has been saddled with the responsibility of conducting election. If all of us do our own bit, this country will have a very good election in 2023.
Okay, before I just talk a bit about security, let me ask you, what is the fear of INEC ahead of this election? Is there any fear? What is the fear of INEC? Because judging from the past election, what fear, if you are to ask INEC, what is your fear ahead of the election? What is the fear of INEC?
The remit of the Independent National Electoral Commission is to organize, undertake, and supervise elections. And we are committed to doing that. And we are planning for that eventuality. But you must also realize that there are a lot of Nigerians in IDP camps. And the implication is that we have to recreate their registration areas and their polling units in the IDP camps. When somebody is running for his or her life, the last thing the person remembers is a permanent voter's card. So some of those people in IDP camps, we have to reprint their permanent voter's cards and also give them assurance that they can vote and vote in peace. The issue of security is paramount, is fundamental. There are some local government areas in this country as of today that are not accessible. And we need access to reach our polling units. We need access to get to the voters. We need some level of security to deploy young men and women doing their national youth service and those in federal tertiary institutions. We are going to deploy over 1 million ad hoc staff. And these are sons and daughters of people. And we must be confident and assured of their security. So we are working assiduously with the various security agencies to make sure that the country is secure enough for us to conduct election.
Is the federal government ready to give INEC any security demand personnel that they want?
Well, under the law, the Nigerian police is the lead agency in terms of election security. And we meet with all the heads of all the security agencies under the auspices of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. The chairman of the commission is the chair of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, while the National Security Advisor is the co-chair. And the heads of all the security agencies in Nigeria are members. We meet on a quarterly basis, and we've been reviewing the security situation across the country. And we are also, even on our own, getting security reports and security information and security threat assessment in all the local government areas of this country. And we also feed the security agencies with our own reports and vice versa. So we are confident that going into the election, they will do the needful and secure the country enough to enable us deploy effectively.
So INEC is telling Nigerians that 2023 election will be a perfect one.
What we are telling Nigerians is that under our remit, we are going to conduct a very good election in 2023, and that the election will be transparent, it will be free, it will be fair, and it will be inclusive.